All right, hello, welcome. This is the Brave, what did I call it? The Brave Women Interview Series. I'm Diane Cunningham Ellis, and I'm here with my good friend, Sonia Leanard. And today, just for the sake of the recording, today is February 2nd. It's Groundhog's Day. We are going to only do this recording once and not repeat it again and again. But it is kind of comical because often we're talking about comparing, to stop comparing and start connecting. I believe that's what I called this. Yes, stop comparing and start connecting. And that way, I'm gonna let some more people into the room. So we are going to just have an open conversation about this, and we are going to I'm going to start with a little quick prayer, just because that's kind of what I'm used to doing at the beginning of these. Then we'll dive in and hopefully let more people into the room. So it's good. It's good. Father God, thank you so much for this time together today to talk honestly and openly about competing and comparing and judging and justifying and all the things. And so, Lord, thank you for whoever ends up listening to this now or in the future. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. Excellent. So, Beth, welcome. You are, we just got everybody, no one else is here so far, so we are just getting started, and I'm about to introduce my friend Sonia, and then we're going to have plenty, I'm assuming more people are going to be coming. They're just running late, and then we'll have plenty of time at the end for Q&A also. And definitely introduce yourself, Beth, maybe into the chat room so that Sonia knows who you are, and that'd be good. All right, so I'm going to dive in. Sonia is my friend. We've just figured out that we met maybe in 2015 or so, 2016. And Sonia we met at a networking event, and Sonia is a real estate agent. And I have some quick stats. You know, we all love stats and numbers and this and that. She's been a real estate agent for 17 years, and I'm going to have you, tell us more of your story, obviously, Sonia. But 17 years as a real estate agent, and there's 1.5 million real estate agents, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong. The average real estate agents in America, right, nationally. Okay, and the average real estate agent sells 12 houses a year and brings in $49,000 and 49,700, almost 50,000. That was like when you told me that I had no idea. I had no idea what was average, and I had no idea what was the income from that average. And so then Sonia tells me that she last year sold 33 houses. This is the year of COVID, as we all know, 33 houses, and made $388,000. And we're not saying any of that to brag. These are true numbers. And so I had no idea. I mean, I had no idea the average. I had no idea how much Sonia sold. I know Sonia's my friend, right? That's what I know about her. And I know that we talk and we meet for coffee, and we talk about life. We talk about business. We talk about which diet plan we're on. We talk about our spouses. We talk about life. So we're going to get into a lot of that comparing and competing. But Sonia, go ahead and just introduce yourself, and you're going to love her accent, Beth. Ready?
Thank you, Diane. I'm honored to be here, and very nice to meet you, Beth. I've watched Diane post on Facebook a lot. I don't interact much, but I read a lot of what she posts. I see your name pop up quite a bit, so I feel like I already know you. So she's giving you kind of the lowdown on the numbers, which are pretty interesting, actually. It's an interesting career, real estate. It's nothing like what people think it is, and there's a lot of things that attract people into the industry for the wrong reasons. And that's why our numbers are on average really pretty pathetic, actually, for the amount of responsibility that we take on and the amount of work that we do in a day. And it's a day and a night and a weekend. Our work can be 24/7. So a lot of opportunity there for self-management. And Diane said we talk when we talk over coffee about a lot of different things. And we could just talk and talk and talk and talk. There's so much that our lives interact and cross over. And as women in business with families and husbands, we're all in the same boat. It's just ridiculous. It's just a different label, what you put on what you do. And the number of what you make is just a number. That's what we want to talk about today, is comparing, how you feel about your number. It's a number. And she wanted the number just to kind of position, I guess, but it doesn't, it's just a number. It doesn't matter. The fact that I made that big number, but what are my expenses? What it cost me to be in business. It cost me 200,000, then it's not a great number at the end of the day, is it? So it's all relative, and it's all about the life and quality of life and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know where we're going on this, but I guess just to set the scene a little bit about who I am, from just a personal perspective, I guess. I just turned 60. That's a little tidbit that I haven't shared a lot of, because it's so new to me that I'm 60 years old. I feel like I'm officially now an old person, but that's it. That's what I am. And I have a husband, and we are happily married, although it hasn't always been that way, but we have been married 32 years. So that's an achievement right there. I have 3 kids. They're all young adults in their 20s, grown and blown the nest, working out there in the big wide world, self-sufficient, supporting themselves. And I'm thrilled and honored and just so proud of that accomplishment. Mother and woman, that's definitely something I don't need to overlook as an achievement, because we can pigeonhole ourselves in achieving only in the professional sphere of our life and feel like what we did as a homemaker is, it doesn't count. But I've been encouraged to look at that as a huge achievement. So I definitely want to chalk that one up. So and I stayed home. I was lucky enough to be able to stay home and raise them when they were young. I quit working outside the home and devoted myself to raising them, which was actually a lifelong passion of mine. When I was a little girl, people asked me what I wanted to do, and I wanted to be a mom. So I was able to realize that dream and stayed home with them full time until my youngest was entering kindergarten. And a neighbor friend of mine had been working for a real estate team as their hourly paid assistant, and she had gotten her real estate license, so she was about to start selling, and they were looking for someone to fill her spot. And she asked me if I was interested in a job. So at the time, I hadn't really given that much thought. I'd been home with my kids for 10 years. But I realized I was probably getting into the next phase of my life and probably had more time now to devote to something in addition to maintaining the home. So long and short, I took the job and I became a real estate agent assistant. And that was hourly paid, daytime work, pretty much office-based, although I did go out to the houses occasionally and measure rooms and things, but pretty much filing and printing and making flyers and inputting stuff onto the computer and that kind of thing. And I really, really enjoyed it and learned a lot about the real estate industry from that perspective. But I wasn't getting paid enough for the hours I was doing, and they were really busy. And it wasn't really a part-time, few hours a day job like I thought it was going to be. It was pretty much every hour I could get out of the house, and that wasn't really what I was looking for. But I did like the industry, so I wondered, perhaps I can do this, maybe I can sell. So I got my license and started selling with the group that I was with. And they were very busy at the time, but the industry was slowing. It's a real peaks and valleys industry, as you know, as a homeowner, or wherever you live, you know that prices go up and fluctuations in the market cause booms and busts in our market. So it was slowing down, and they ended up not having a whole lot of extra work for me. So after working with them for a little while, I realized this was really me. I was generating the leads and closing the business, and I was actually a real estate agent in business for myself, which came as a bit of a shock because I didn't really think about heading that way professionally. It just kind of, I say the industry found me, and it really did. But it was a good fit. I really enjoyed it. It was it was a really good fit for me as a mom who, working as a stay-at-home mom and wanting to do something that really was time-wise within my control. And as the kids needed me less and less around the house. As they got older, then I did more and more, and it just grew with me and my lifestyle changes. So that's kind of how it all happened. And that, as Diane said, that was 17 years ago when I very first started.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm creating a growing list of topics for us to cover as we go along. And Beth, as you think of things to ask me or Sonia, feel free to post those in the chat. I'm surprised no one else is here because this is a huge topic. And when I announced it, there was all these people that said they wanted to be here, and I hope they listen afterwards. So I mean, I heard so many things, so many nuggets right there, just kind of coming sideways into a business. Well, I mean, and those days when you're like, oh, I guess I'm a coach, you know, oh, I am this thing, you know, and I remember my first day thinking, oh, I am the CEO. Like this, I had a CEO kind of day, and I know what day that was because it was defining for me. Because when we step into who we are, or who God has gifted us to be, whether that's writer, speaker, real estate agent, baker, cupcake maker, you know, I mean, whatever we are, it's a gift from God, and I can either use it or ignore it, or downplay it, or think I'm not as good as you, and then sit here whining and complaining. And we're going to get a lot into Sonia coaches real estate agents. Sonia has a coach. And so we talk a lot about that. We talk a lot about accountability. We talk a lot about, you know, doing the work. Basically, you know, and Beth hears me say this all the time, butt in the seat. You know, I need butt in the seat work, not like liking things on Facebook. That's not work. That's fun. And I can do that when I'm scrolling on Netflix. But that's not my work that I'm called to do. So Sonia, let's kind of go back to some, you know, even more vulnerable. So you and I were meeting for coffee within the last 2 weeks. And, you know, we start talking about weight. We start talking about or weight and comparing. We start talking about other people's productivity, I guess I would call it. And you know, we you know, and I pride myself on not gossiping, on not talking about other people. And you know, I mean, I don't know if we were doing that. I don't think so. I hope not. But I know we were getting into, well, what about you? And what do you use? And you know, kind of this, you know, how much do you weigh? What do you eat? You know, that whole thing. And that's what kind of led to this conversation happening, actually. And that is what led. So just so you know, Beth, you know, where all this came from. We were just sitting there and kind of talking about, I mean, the track our mind can easily go down to, I'm not good enough. Okay, I'm not good enough. She's doing it better. Look at what they just posted. Look at that house she has for sale. So how has comparison robbed you, Sonia, or what are you aware of related to comparison and how it affects your business?
Yeah, that's definitely a good introduction. When you said what we were talking about, I was remembering where we were sitting and how that conversation happened. And so in my industry, well, now let me start off with something more general, I think. So I think part of what's really, really hard right now in today's age with social media is the ability to compare and to judge yourself against other people, because you get to see what other people are doing. Now, just to take the Facebook platform, that's where I'm most active. And so I pull up Facebook in the morning over coffee, and I, you know, what posts on my feed. It's everybody's a real life. You know, everyone only posts the great things that happened to them yesterday. You don't post the crap stuff that happened, of course. And I do the same thing. So if I was to look at my life on Facebook from someone else's perspective, it probably looks pretty good. But because I was there and lived it all the rest of the day around the great thing that I posted, it looks like I'm having a great time. And so when I doubt myself and look at everybody else's great time, I'm comparing my B-rate movie that I'm living with their A-reel that they're posting, and I feel less than. I feel lacking. I feel like, well, that's what I want to have. And somebody the day posted, I still remember it, here we go, 3 days later, they posted, I wrote 6 offers this weekend. I'm like, well, I didn't. I want to write 6 offers this weekend. Why didn't I write 6 offers this weekend? That's just not fair. I'm working just as hard as she is. And it just kind of spiraled out of control. Now, did she personally sit down and write 6 offers, or did her team of maybe 10 people combined bring in 6 offers? Did she write 6 offers, but by Tuesday, none of them had hit, and they're all a waste of time? Spend all weekend getting nowhere. I mean, we don't know. We just know the little bit that was posted. So that's where I think that there's way too much opportunity to compare today with that kind of stuff. And it's very hard. And I think I just look at my kids, and I'm grateful that my kids are a little older than, they grew up with a little bit of social media, but not to the point where it is today. And I think parenting children today who are like middle school age, to have them exposed to that is just unbelievably difficult. As an adult here, I'm having a hard time managing myself through it. What youngsters to do the same. So in our industry, there's a lot what we call smoke and mirrors. I wrote 6 offers this week. I'm showing a $1 million house today. All those are probably factually correct, but it's only part of the picture. And then what I alluded to earlier was, I'm in business for myself. Every penny I make as income needs to get balanced by what I have to pay to run my business.
Exactly.
And I have to pay every piece of paper I write, every ink. I just bought toner for my printer now. I've got dues for associations, membership fees. Everything that is an expense in my business is whittling away at that income. So when we talk numbers, we pick and choose what number looks the best. Sometimes it's income, sometimes it's number of houses sold, sometimes it's the volume of the real estate sales. So somebody might say, I sold 20 houses. Well, if they're all $100,000 houses, then that's 2 million. Okay. But somebody might have sold 4 $2 million houses. So now they're talking about 8 million. Now who did better? The number of houses, the volume, the income, so there's an opportunity to shine in your area using the data that makes you look best. It's, like the media do anyway, politicians, statistics, but what's the real picture? And so, Diane, you and I got talking about that comparison. It's like, well, what would make us happy? Do we want to be number one in volume but have no money? Do we want to have all the money in the world but no time to spend it, and no relationships, no friends, and no husband to spend it with? And then that speaks to balance and prioritization or in general. But I think right now we're in a pandemic of comparison because of everything that's out there on social media, that you can just get totally the wrong end of the stick. And even if you know it, and I know it too, reading these posts on social media, I know that there's a bigger story behind that, but it still gets in my head.
Right. Yes. And yeah, I love that. Basically, we never know. I really try to post a lot of vulnerability, a lot of real stuff, in addition to, yay, I just got a new client. Oh, yay. I just filled the washing machine, started it with no clothes in it yesterday. Or, hey, whatever, I've been really vocal about my recovery journey because it's been a huge part of my life, and it's actually changed the course of my business success too, because every principle I've learned in those programs, those rooms, one day at a time, just do your work, show up, keep coming back, all these little weird sayings that we say in certain 12-step rooms. Really, it makes sense to me for my business. Just what do you need? What's the next right thing today, Diane? Well, it's probably the work you have to do today, not obsessing over what you didn't do yesterday, or what is, am I going to lose a client next week? I don't know. I don't know. I have the clients today. Come up and serve today. But like, I can easily get into, you were talking about the expenses of the business, the time spent on the business, the workaholism that we can easily get into, which is one of my addictive things. If it feels good and anything that sparks my insides, I want more. I have a disease of wanting more. I want more sales. I want more food and less, I want to be skinny and eat all the food. I want more clients. I want, well, and as I'm sitting here, here's the truth. I'm totally obsessing and comparing my messy, I'm obsessed over my messy office right now. Why? Because I've had other people see it this week. I've had a little girl in here. I've had her mother in here. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a disaster. This is so embarrassing. This is so embarrassing. But on a normal day, it doesn't bother me as much. I mean, it's right. But it's like, oh gosh, someone sees my secrets, right? Someone is seeing the real mess of me. And that's vulnerable, right? That's vulnerable when somebody is seeing who you really are. Cause I mean, I can gloss over, I can gloss over, position the camera just right, real fun on my iPhone, make myself look snazzy and cute. But when somebody is right up on you, right up in your life, they are going to see all your fears. They're going to see your fears come out. And if we're comparing underneath that, it's fear, right? I mean, let's get honest. If I'm comparing, I'm afraid. I'm afraid I'm not going to be good enough. I'm afraid I never was enough. I'm afraid I'll never have enough. So I'm not sure where I'm going with all that. Does that trigger anything for you, Sonia?
Well, I'm not in my office. I have to say, I'm not there because you're not coming in my place because it's, I don't say worse than yours because yours looks kind of cute. It's all red for Valentine's. But no, so yeah, I'm showing the veneer here. I've got the light on behind the camera here so that I look better than I might have without the light off. In fact, we started off, Diane and I, a couple of minutes before this call, and I was looking at myself and I was like, bags under my eyes. I thought I just added extra makeup, and I realized it's not the perfect lighting. So yeah, I'm all about the facade. I'm not vulnerable like you, showing everything. But that's my role actually. I need to put on a little bit, not a face, the front, but a best foot forwards.
Yes.
And my client is looking for somebody who's professional, who's together, who shows that they kind of know what they're doing. They want to attach to that bandwagon, and they need the comfort and the knowledge and the confidence, rather, I guess, of knowing that that's who I am. I'm going to get them through this difficult time of their lives moving. It's not the most fun. It's typically one of the most stressful times, big financial decisions. So they want someone they want to feel that this person is got it together and professional. Now, behind the scenes, if I was to go back to my other room, where all the, where the sausage gets made, as it were, and it's not quite so pretty, but so there's a reason to put on the facade. I'm not a fake. I'm really not.
Right.
And
right.
Go deep a lot of the times, and I get to know a lot of my clients on a personal level also. But I don't have to go down too deep with them at this point when I'm trying to showcase my skills and look the professional. So there's a fine line between being a professional and showing what you can do and being fake. But you got to not go there, of course.
Yeah. So that just made me, and we're going to go a lot into like Beth and I are always talking. Beth has, we're going to talk a lot about mindset, because this, underneath it all, I'm heading there, Beth. I'm heading there. It's all mindset anyway. It's all mindset anyway. And, our actions will either be reflecting our mindset in a positive way, or our actions will be reflecting kind of our fears. I think that's true. So, I mean, one thing I just thought of is, we don't know, we forget that we know a lot. We forget that we're an expert. We forget how much is like, oh, wow, I know all this stuff. I'm teaching all this stuff. You have 17 years worth of knowledge of the housing industry, the market, the career you're in. And, I have lots of years of the same, my own career. And Beth has written 21, 22 books.
Oh,
And,
wow.
yeah. So like, but we're like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. Yes, it is. I mean, so some of that is acknowledging our gifts, standing in the, acknowledging what we have to offer and what we have to teach. And I believe that the more we do that, the more we realize the more I realize my gifts, the more I feel comfortable expressing my gifts, owning my gifts, charging for my gifts. What are your thoughts, Sonia?
Yeah, so one of the things that my business coach tells us a lot is several things. First of all, the success doesn't feel like it. You always feel like, when I get to this, when I sell more homes, when I make more money, when I, whatever it is that's out there in your area of expertise that you're striving for, when I get that, then I'm going to feel different. I'm going to feel successful. And I think it's true. I don't think it ever does. And he says he's a, billionaire and a very, very successful coach. And he says it doesn't feel any different. Like, back to age, I'm sorry, it's a raw right now, but I don't feel 60. You are where you are, and you're in that moment. You kind of feel the same. I know 17 years worth of stuff. I know I'm very successful and knowledgeable, and I can coach people and everything, but it's just who I am. I mean, it's me. I wake up every morning and this is just me. I don't feel any different. So he encouraged us to remember where we came from, to look back and see that growth and progression so that you can actually remember it yourself. And every now and again, I wake up, like you said, Diane, you suddenly realize, gosh, I can do this. And like this kind of interview, I'm getting more and more requests for things like this. And I know years and years ago, I would never have done this or been able to. And now it's something that comes a lot more naturally. I'm just talking about who I am, which is what people want to talk about. And it's really interesting how I have to stop myself and think, this is me, I'm doing this. And apparently I'm doing it reasonably well. And I've got a lot of knowledge. I train new agents. I know, Beth, you had a question there in the chat about the new agents' suggestions that I might have for your friends. I'm happy to take that at some point here. But yeah, I can coach and teach and mentor and train and encourage and all that stuff. But it seems really weird still to me that I'm doing that well. But so I think that what I was trying to say was that success doesn't feel like it.
Yes.
It's a pattern, and you grow with it. And I remember when I was raising my kids, the phase of their life was new and different, and I kind of grew with them, because when they were little, I thought I would never be able to send them to school. I mean, oh my gosh, I don't know if you have children, Beth, but it would be like so hard for me to send them to school. And then by the time they got going to school, I was ready to you're ready, you go. I mean, I was ready. And then, graduate college and working and whatever driving, that was a big deal, but by the time they actually got their license, you can't wait for them to get out, go drive. Take your brother to school, and so you grow with it, and that's life in general, I think, not just with, but you do grow, and that's awesome, I think, to recognize yourself.
I never heard that phrase before. Success doesn't feel like it. And this is Buffini, right? Buffini?
Yeah.
You're talking.
Right.
So success doesn't feel like it. Oh my gosh. And we never want to talk about our fear of success, but it's true. We have fear of failure, and that keeps us stuck. But most women I know aren't even recognizing the fear of success. If I sell houses, I'm going to have to keep selling houses. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go when these people call me. If I create this program, this experience, well, that means I have to show up consistently. And I need to be here and do the thing instead of whining and complaining about why it's not working, right? Success doesn't feel like it. And then it also goes into, the imposter syndrome. Like, is this what it's supposed to feel like? Well, I don't know. I've never been here before. I remember one of my first, I've had lots of NACWE conferences, and some were great and some were bad. After one that went really well, there was this really weird feeling, and finally I had a name for it, and it was like almost like success guilt. Like I had this I was like, what is that feeling? It's not survivor's guilt, but it was like success guilt. I had actually made money instead of lost money. What? Craziness. There's a lot of things in business no one talks about that you're going to break even. Okay. You're going to break even, and it's a big giant marketing expense. And you're like, oh crap, that was scary and frightening and horrible. But everything after that, you learned, you took a lot of photos, you have experience from that, the break even experience, or and then, but it was this weird feeling of it worked. And it scared the crap out of me, actually, that success feeling. Like somehow I did not deserve it. Like I did not deserve the success. And I had to let that feeling kind of wash through me for a few days. And I think I still get that a little bit. January of this month, I brought in more money than I brought in any month last year. I worked hard for it. I do good work. And then I feel like a braggart for even thinking about it. Okay, what? Okay, what? So, and then I also wrote down, success doesn't feel like it. Well, so tell, you've been getting coached. Let's talk about coaching, Sonia, because, I'm a coach, you're a coach, you get coached. What have you learned about coaching from being coached and being a coach?
Okay, that's a big topic. Let's start with being coached. So when I started my real estate career, a couple of years into it, a friend in real estate who was very successful talked about the coaching company that she was using for her business. And I bought into what she was telling me. I admired her, I still do. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to look into this. And so it was actually at the time when the market was really going down, and I felt I needed some help. So I very quickly bought into the idea of being coached. I had my coach, and I've been a part of their program for 14 years. So basically, it's Buffini and Company is the organization. They primarily coach real estate agents and lenders, and their philosophy works for any small business owner actually, but their space is pretty much the real estate space. And so every 2 weeks, I get to talk with my coach for 30 minutes. And as part of the program, I get an online system. We get podcasts and content and help with scripts and dialogues and processes. And we get the CRM to keep all our data organized. And so when I first started with coaching, I didn't know much about it, only that I felt like it was going to help me with my business. That's what that has been promised. And I've grown a lot into coaching. I didn't understand how to use it the best for quite a long time, but the coaches there are very knowledgeable. And what they do in Buffini, which is I think not used a lot out there in the coaching world, is they interview you first of all to find out what you are and your strengths and how you work as a person. So they have this profiling system called the Heritage Profile, which is very in-depth and analyzes all your strengths in various different categories. And each coach has their own profile that they know. And then Buffini matches the clients with the coaches so that you're working with someone that they think is going to be a good fit off the bat. But then your coach will coach you to your profile, which is
Nice.
pretty big. not everybody responds the same way to instruction or suggestion. And when they know the kind of things that tweak you in a good way and a bad way, then they can deliver their suggestions in a way that you might pick up on and actually do something with. So what I've found with my coach is, first of all, she's got great ideas that I don't have. I'm just one person, and sometimes there's only a limit to what I can dream up. Well, she'll have more and better ideas. She coaches about 65 people, and they're all selling real estate. So she's got tons of ideas from other people that she can bring to me. So that's a huge benefit. But also she knows, even if I tell her what I want to do, like it wasn't even her suggestion, it was my idea, sometimes I have a hard time implementing it because of my own weaknesses within my own personality. And she can cut straight through that and help me get past myself and achieve the goals that I want to achieve that I wouldn't have been able to do on my own because I'm just me inside my own head. So that's what I've learned from her, both the practical ability for her to, two heads are better than one, and also for her to work with my head in the way it needs to be worked with to gain success. And then from a perspective of passing on that knowledge, I don't coach for income. I just coach for the sheer fun of it. But I do mentor new agents in my office and also facilitate training classes for them that help them, particularly from the new agent perspective. And I do that because, one, I'm just passionate about seeing people succeed and learn what I've learned and take advantage of the opportunities that I've been able to take advantage of. And secondly, it keeps me on track, because if I'm telling them what they need to do in the week to succeed, then I better be doing something similar too. I'm just not saying do what I say, not what I do. And I don't do it perfectly, but if I'm mentoring people, I'm much more likely to be doing what I'm supposed to do in a day. And I often thought about, Feeney talks about, if I came with a camera crew around your office last week, what would it look like? Would it be newsworthy? And I think about that sometimes when I want to, not really do what I'm supposed to be doing. I think, what if someone was watching me? I better do the things I'm supposed to do here, because that's what people think I'm doing. So I'm holding myself.
And I'm laughing behind the scenes because Beth is always wanting me to hire a video crew. I mean, I share a lot on social media anyway, but she even in the last 3 or 4 days, she said, "Well, Diane, I wish you would just hire that dude that." And it was Sonia that connected me up with that guy that did my video montage, Beth. So because of Sonia, met Gary, hired him for 2 days to follow, do that turned into a 10-minute thing. But Beth's always wanting to see, and I'm about to do more of these kind of workshops of what are the systems I use to keep the systems going, or, the behind the mirror, the light I'm using, the gadgets I'm having, because we all want to know, we all want to be that little person. What happens at their house? What happens in that office? How does she do what she does all day? What are the practices, what are the practices? What are the routines? What are the habits that help you do what you do? And those, again, we don't see them because we're doing them every day. But one, I know that I'm going to brag on Sonia for one, 17 years of building up a foundation speaks, right? We don't come into business and like have all these clients, no one starts like that. We start with one client, one house, right? Like one client or one house. Go ahead.
Yeah. I want to speak to that. So if you need to go on, that's great. But I need to come back to that one point there. Do I do that now before I forget it?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I'll come back.
I just remember, and like I said, the numbers are just numbers, but I do remember when, I didn't start off making that huge number that we started at the beginning. And I started off just like every other person, and this might help your friends, Beth. And I didn't have incremental growth either. I had growth and then a plateau, and then slipped back, to a really bad year. And, why was that? Well, certain things that were going on in my life at the time that derailed me, or the market or whatever. So it's not linear success. But I remember one time I had listened to I'm going to forget who wrote it now. The guy that wrote the Chicken Soup for the Soul, that first series there, he had a quote that said he wrote out and put on his bathroom mirror that what he wanted to achieve in a year, and it was an enormous amount of money. Yes, thank you, Jack Canfield. Yes. So he wrote this quote and he put it on his mirror. He wanted to make, I don't know, $100,000 or whatever. And he was making like 10 or something at the time. And he wrote it in a way, like a religious way, that this would come to him in incremental amounts through the year as a result of him giving of himself and time or whatever. So it was a give to receive, faith-based process through which he was going to acquire this financial recognition. And he said he read it every day, and we woke up one morning and all of a sudden he'd done it, which was just like unrealistic. So I did the same thing. I wrote this thing and I put it inside of my little cabinet where I kept my toothpaste. So every morning I opened the cabinet, I read this thing, and the number I put was $250,000. And at the time I made like 60, 67 or something. 67 sticks in my mind as a number for some reason. I don't know. That's what I made one year. And so 250 was like obscene. It's like, this is never going to happen. And it didn't happen for a couple of years. And then one year I exceeded 250 and I was just like, holy cow, this is a true. It's like saying $1 million now. You know, if I said I was going to make $1 million, it would be just like, yeah, it really is. But when I look at that, I'm like, yeah, it happened. I grew. And that's when I really figured out that I was growing.
Right.
So I work hard, but a lot of people do. I'm focused. I give, and that's one of the. I think that's one of the reasons that I didn't give up coaching and training, because I've got to keep giving. You know, if I stop that, maybe the money will stop coming. So I keep to keep going with that. But put it out there and believe. I mean, I still think there's something to that as well. You know, vision boards and all that. You keep doing the right thing, and don't take your eye off the activities. What we do every day by day is not sexy, you know. It's
no
the thing, and that's what you can control. So this is how our coach works on it. You can control your activities, you can't control the results. I can't make people want to buy a house, move, sell a house. You know, there's people out there wanting to do it. I have to be in the right place to catch them, but my activities are connecting with people, more people each day, people again and again, until at such times as I find the ones that want to buy and sell a house. So my activities are making the calls, interacting with people, going to networking events, talking about my ability to help them. And then I find those people, and that's how we close houses. So I can't focus on the results. I have to focus on the activities, which is just, you know, that's like the grind, picking up the phone, making 10 phone calls before I can get up and go to the bathroom. That's sometimes what I do. You know, I got to get through 10. I need to go to the bathroom, but I'm not finish this list of calls, you know? So that's that's the not sexy thing about this job. What do you do all day? Well, you know, it's really not that exciting. No, some things are, of course, but the grind of the day is the grind of the day. It comes with the territory.
And I know, because you and I have talked about this at length, you know, I know you're heading to a networking event in a few minutes. I mean, I know you go to certain ones every single week, and you are religious about it, you know, unless there's a snowstorm, which doesn't happen in Texas, or, you know, you're dead sick. You're there, and these people, you're planting seeds that are like, I mean, the thing about your business is you got to plant long-term seeds. Long-term seeds are going on over there. And I know, like, you have a certain number, I think it's 35 phone calls or touches or reach outs per week. Is that the right number?
It's about right. Yeah, it varies each year depending on my goals, but I think it's 30 calls and 5 pop buys right now. So 35 touches.
Okay, awesome. So, I mean, that means, so for those of us that are not in that field, that means for Sonia, because I've seen her do this. So 5 pop buys means stopping by somebody's house, business, or somewhere to drop off a little cool gift. this is a gift from the dollar store. So, I mean, she's not spending gazillion dollars, but it's being in front of somebody. Every time I see Sonia, I get a cool little thing, like with some measuring cups or some, like, I don't, just whatever the cool thing is. And that it's always, every day Sonia is selling. Every day Sonia is selling something or talking about a house or connecting with a client, planting a seed. And and then part of that is actually one-on-one calling on the phone, like talking, calling, reaching out, not waiting. Like, you're not out there like, oh, I hope 30 people call me this week. They are not calling you. You are calling, you are actively involved in your own success, right? And so, this kind of goes to stop comparing, start connecting, right? It's about the connections you are creating for whatever it is you sell. And I mean, the same thing. I have no control over who signs up for my programs. It's my job to follow up. It's my job to say, hey, you've been asking about coaching for 2 years. Here's a little program. Here's a little program I made. And so anyway, I know we're getting to, I want to open it up to have Beth ask some questions if she wants to. She's my question queen. I'm going to start calling her that. She sent in like a list of 10 questions for our group coaching yesterday. Beth, do you have any questions for me? Sonia, do you want to say anything else?
No, that's great. I really want to hear from Beth. She's been typing a few things in chat, which I've seen, but I'd love to hear what I can help her with in the next 10 minutes. So that's all we have left.
Take it away, Beth.
Yes, I loved everything you said. And by the way, you are beautiful. I wondered what you did different in last year than you did the years before. That was my first question.
Right. So last year was my best year ever. And but I've come close to that before. I didn't really radically change what I did from a lead generation perspective. With COVID, we could see each other face to face less, obviously, in my industry. So some of our networking groups weren't meeting, and we offered Zoom, and I did that. So some of the people in my networking groups just didn't come anymore. So I did not choose that. I chose to stay engaged. My social events that I put on all throughout the year for my client base, which is a whole nother Zoom call, I think, but I did not stop those. I adjusted them. We did things virtually, we did things drive-by. And so I maintained my lead generation. And then as far as the technicalities of selling homes, I did a lot more online advertising for my sellers with virtual walkthrough tours and virtual open houses and stuff. So I'm not sure if any of that answers your question.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, I do the comparison thing a lot. It's probably one of my biggest struggles. I think a lot of women do, even if they don't talk about it. And I wanted to know how you shifted. Obviously, you didn't, your first year, sell all these houses. So what happened in your life to cause you to shift into that success mindset? Because I struggle with that a lot.
Right. And I think a lot of that I was helped with my coach, because they're looking to help us go from where we're at to the next step, whatever that is for us. And everybody's different because they're on a different spot right now. So they're very clear about setting goals within your space, measurable and achievable. So whatever they are, and again, that's a whole other call when we talk about goal setting, but if you've got some goals that are achievable within your space, achieving some of those goals is going to help propel you down that road to success. Because obviously, if you set a goal and achieve it, you've got some success right there. I'm not very good at celebrating. I'm always like on to the next thing. So I have to rein myself in, go back and look and celebrate. It's a big thing, apparently. The brain likes to be told it did a good thing. So I'm learning to celebrate. But then at the end of the year, go back and write down everything you did well and you achieved. That's pretty empowering. And that, I think, is where I first started to see, heck, I did this. So December, my coach always has me go back and write out everything you did. So I go back through my planner because I've forgotten most of it, and I write down events I went to, events I held. I know my numbers. I mean, they're already out there in my finances. I know how many houses I sold. But what else did I do? I wrote, 500 personal notes. I held 10 open houses or whatever it is. And when you go back and look at all that, it's like, holy moly, I was working hard. And then you can start to compare with somebody that didn't do all that, and I have some feedback from my coach. You're not like Diane says, we're not talking about people and picking it out, but she's like, nobody else in my group has attended that many training events, or and you go, oh, well, that's good, because I'm just me, you don't know. And so to get a little bit of perspective on that, I think helped me understand I'm being successful, and I'm being successful as a result of my darn hard work. It's kind of good to put that in perspective.
Yes. Great questions, Beth. We did an exercise before your next question. There's a worksheet I created, and it's like 2 pages, and it's like, I made it in 2020, and it said 2020 is not over yet, and I have a blank how many days are left. And the first time we did it, there was like in my house, and it was September, so it was like there's 90 days left or 100 days left, whatever. And then kind of the second page was, what have I already done? Like, what do I still want to do? It's not over. It's called it's not over list.
Right.
It's not over, like, okay, it's not over. I still can complete blank, blank, and blank. Let's finish. Let's close some loops here, because closing loops gives me success. Selling a program, or selling a few programs, gives me some success, gives me some feedback. And there's a lot of people sitting around like afraid to sell anything, and then they never have any feedback. Like, they don't ever know, did this work or not? How can I tweak it? Got to tweak it. It's about, and Sonia said this word, implementation. If you don't ever implement, you never know. If we're living in the ideas and inspiration land and never implementing, you just never know, did this hit home for anybody? Am I even speaking in their language? Because sometimes we're like, it's like comes across to them like gobbledygook in our world, Beth, any other questions before we start to close up?
Yes, I think a lot, and I put this in the chat, I think a lot of people view success as a money figure. And if you're not hitting that certain income, then it can cause discouragement. So, and it's not just, you yourself, but perhaps people around you are having that expectation of you. So what would your tips be for not comparing yourself with other people, not getting discouraged?
That's a big one. I think it goes back again to incremental success of yourself. So what I got introduced to the Buffini program, they lay out, this is what you do. If you do this, you're going to be successful. And so if you don't have a roadmap on how to succeed, what are the stepping stones, then you need to find what that is in your world. First of all, ask for help. I know Diane's big on that, and you have her to encourage you and work with, and she's amazing. But reach out and ask for help. Find out from somebody that can tell you what it is to do. So now you do it, and therefore you will have some success. If you don't, then you got to figure out why that is. But as long as you can work out what you're supposed to do in your area to gain the success, then you do it. You should be getting some success, and just build on that. And it may be that it's a long, slow road. I mean, some people in real estate, they have a rocking couple of years because they start off and they sell every family member's house, and that's easy pickings. Sounds great. But then after 2 years, they've done that, and no one else wants to move in their family, and they've got nothing going, Other people that nobody in their family wants to move, and so they have to go out and beat the bushes, and they start slowly, but by year 3, 4, they're rocking because they know how to generate the leads. So neither one of those is really fun way to start, but it happens. And so everyone's different. You are where you are. So I just think that constant, from me, from having a coach to constantly pour into me and let me know that this was an okay way to be going about it. You know, you're not rocketing through, but that's okay too. And when I train new agents, that's what happens too. I had it like on my best friends in real estate. She's awesome now. She didn't close her house for 6 months. And she was crying, and you know, it's just like really hard. But now she got past that, and now she's doing awesome. But constant reinforcing that you're in the right place from the perspective of someone looking outside, looking in, you know, because it's good for us. But if you're not in the right place, you got to tweak it and fix it.
Mm-hmm. And it's important to know we're always tweaking it. We're always, you know, every day, every year, no matter how long we've been doing it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. And, you know, life is going to be life, but my job is to keep, tweak here. Okay. Fix this here. Okay. Laser focus in on this. And, what I want to affirm for you, Beth, is I see so Beth is doing this. She's stepping up in a brand new way. She's rising into her new mindset, and it shows because she's the only person here on this comparison call. And so she's so much of it is like, I'm willing to be coached. I'm coachable. I'm willing. I know I'm learning. I know it's uncomfortable. And that's a key piece in it too. And I'm going to close this up because Sonia's heading to our the networking event.
Thank you so much, Sonia.
And I send my contact information to any of your friends in real estate, even a different state. I've got a couple of people on classes I started yesterday that are out of state. So they can call me, just get my number from Diane, and I'm happy to talk to them if I can help. Awesome.
We'll put your website link in the underneath where I promoted the group or this. Yeah. Okay, awesome. I'm going to say a quick prayer and then send us off. Okay? Oh, God, thank you so much for this talk about real stuff and learning to be exactly who we are and embrace that, embrace our strengths and move forward into that. And Lord, let us not be staring at other people's life and thinking that ours is not the right one, because you gave us the one we have. So Lord, help us to do exactly what we need to do, whatever that is today. Help us to show up. And Lord, thank you so much for my friend Sonia and the gift she is in my life. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, ladies. Thank you. Have a great day. This was awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, Diane. Thanks.
All
Have
right,
a good day.
Bye.
Bye.